This video has been floating around on my recommended for a little while, and I thought it'd be perfect to react to for this video. Well, actually, I don't know if it's going to be perfect, but you get my point. I thought it'd be like a perfect kind of topic. Why nobody has a personality anymore. I'm not familiar with this person. I'm not familiar with this channel, but as I do often talk about society going further and further downhill, this might be an interesting video to talk about today. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with many YouTube channels. Please go show the creators some love in the pinned comment description down below. Let's get started.
I can't be the only one that's noticed it. You know, it.
Everything is a repeat.
Everyone is wearing the same outfit.
Really popular recently.
This TikTok language and accent.
Copy paste exactly what another person is doing.
And I feel like this has been going on for a little while now. It's not something that's like brand new. I'm not saying that she's saying it's brand new, but I feel like at least since 2020 it's picked up. Like there's always been an element of this type of stuff going on.
In videos and comment sections, people recycle the same joke over and over again. Then when you meet people in real life, they talk the same, think the same, move the same. Is it just me, or is it getting rarer and rarer to come across something or someone that is truly unique? If you've felt this too, you are not imagining it. Research says that uniqueness is on the decline, even in a time where we have more tools to express ourselves than ever before.
That's a good point. I've actually never really, I've never really considered the word unique, and I just look at people as NPCs, man. I usually go by, I say something along the lines of like a good 95% of the population is NPCs. They've been turned into NPCs and they just follow what the screen people tells them to. They have the same opinions. Yeah, I guess nobody's unique. That's a good way to put it. I do feel that way.
So yes, something freaky is going on with people's personalities right now, and I'm starting to see what. But I'm also starting to see something else. The controversial tactics the most magnetic and interesting people are using to protect and develop their personalities in a world that is begging them to be bland and beige. This story starts inside a prison. But this isn't just any old prison. This is a panopticon, a concept from the cooked brain of 18th century philosopher Jeremy Bentham. The panopticon has one central tower where a single guard sits, and around it a ring of cells without doors for the prisoners.
Hang on. This is ringing a bell. Hang on. I might sound really, really stupid and get this completely wrong, but isn't this the thing where they kind of all check each other? Maybe I'm misremembering that. I feel like I've seen this before.
Although it is physically impossible for one guard to see all cells at all times, Bentham theorized that the fact that they couldn't know when or if they were being watched at any given time would lead them to act as though they always were.
Yeah. So they started, I'll just listen to it. I'm sorry.
Effectively, the panopticon was a way to get prisoners to eternally behave, because they would begin to surveil themselves. The panopticon...
Oh, I almost had it. I was remembering some experiment where they ended up like checking themselves, but they're making themselves behave because they're not sure when they're being watched, and they could be being watched at any point throughout this.
It's actually built and trialed a few times, but it's mostly been cut because critics say that it's, I don't know, psychological torture. So...
Oh... Was this for prisoners? If this was for prisoners, boo-hoo. Those poor people. Boo-hoo.
The panopticon is most relevant today as a metaphor for where we're at today with identity in a digital society. So there have never been more ways for us to be observed, and definitely never at such a scale. We are constantly being clipped, streamed, quoted. We film our friends, we film ourselves, we film strangers. You can double drop a few too many hard candies at a festival on Saturday.
His name's Daniel.
And become a global meme by Sunday.
Either that or have your entire life destroyed. It's ridiculous how life can change through one video nowadays.
Everyone was trying to work out why Gen Z wasn't drinking as much, until they realized that 49% of them say that their online image is always at the back of their mind when out socializing, with 76% of them saying it's important to feel in control at all times.
I don't know about that. That's a little strange to me. That's a little strange. I feel like it's more of just people getting comfortable inside and people getting, more and more addicted to technology on the inside since, 2020, around there.
And I don't blame them, because they know that a single upload from a frenemy could be the difference between a fun night out and eternal shame.
I don't know. People aren't that smart. People don't think that far ahead, I don't believe.
Anytime, anywhere, with anyone, we can be watched. And just like the prisoners in the panopticon, we don't know when exactly. So we are beginning to internalize that surveillance. This is changing our behavior. And yeah, that seems like a problem, I guess. We aren't getting shit-faced and grinding to the yin-yang twins like we used to. But it goes deeper than that. Because if constant surveillance is changing how we act, what is it doing to who we are?
Yeah, nobody's an actual person anymore, like the beginning of the video. Something that I usually talk about, I don't know if we're going to ever get into that, but I guess that, like, you can relate it to society is, I'm not a person when I go to work. We all have to think the same thing. We all have to, you know, I'm not saying that I would like to go there and be disrespectful, but we all have to suck up to the same people. You kind of get the point. Like, you all have to, I've been involved in the conversations people are having about the world. You all have to think the same thing, that type of thing.
Enter another old dead guy, Erik Erikson. He's pretty much the pioneer of identity psychology. And he said that identity isn't something you're born with. It's something you build brick by brick through a defined process. In today's terms, Erikson's process of identity formation is pretty much 1, fuck around, and 2, find out. The fuck around bit is what Erikson called identity moratorium. This part of the...
That could be like how you end up creating yourself. And by the way, I'm really enjoying the way she's structuring this video. I've never heard of this person or the channel before. I don't mean to be any disrespectful at all. The channel's significantly bigger than I will be in any sort of future time. I'm really enjoying the layout of this, the editing, everything.
Process is all about experimentation, exploration. It's where you try on beliefs, roles, ideas, hats. You watch anime, get involved in politics. Convince yourself that you like the Smashing Pumpkins because maybe that will finally make Zach Talos notice you. It doesn't.
It's kind of just going through life. You develop as a person as you experience different things.
It's chaotic, vulnerable, cringy, and it's really essential because then and only then can you enter the next phase, finding out, or according to Erikson, identity achievement. This is where you synthesize everything that you learned in the first phase and stitch it together to commit to a clear and coherent self. That is the process that forms a unique personality.
Yeah, you figure out what you like, you figure out what you don't like, you go through stuff, you don't go through stuff. Everybody has different paths. Everybody walks different ways.
Hey, this process is being blocked. Remember the panopticon? The reason it seems like people don't have personalities now isn't because they're any less interesting or human. It's because they're not fucking around. So how can they possibly find out? Instead, we're opting for what's safer. Personality archetypes that have already been vetted and accepted by our feeds and our TV.
That's a big issue. That's something that I don't want to say I'm a big fan of. That's what I was about to say, but that's what I contribute to most of the problem. People consuming the same thing over and over and over again, being conditioned to think the same way, to only think one way of thinking is okay. Then they have the moral high ground to tell other people to think the same way. And then those people end up thinking the same way because they'll get bullied, and eventually you start doing it to kids, and kids grow up, kids develop with the same kind of mentality that they see on screen. That's why people aren't unique anymore. On top of that, I believe that since 2020, we have all been addicted to TikTok. We've all been addicted to our phones. We've all been, getting Uber Eats. We've all been antisocial. Men have been addicted to adult content. No wonder nobody has a personality anymore. Everybody's experiencing the same thing and just going through life as an NPC.
These echoes of beliefs and opinions and identities that don't ruffle feathers. And this isn't just me theorizing either. A recent study of over 1 million people found a striking decline in people's desire to stand out and be unique. So in this study, researchers defined you as unique if you had 3 things. Number 1, a lack of concern about other people's opinions. Number 2, a willingness to break rules. And number 3, a tendency to defend personal beliefs publicly.
Yeah, that would definitely label you as unique, but you could still be unique on the inside. That's the problem. It's just that there's definitely people that have no problem doing this outside.
And across all these things, they found a decline. In fact, people's need for uniqueness is at a 20-year low, with the general sentiment being that you need to be incredibly careful about what you're posting. It might be best to keep quiet and not stick out too much.
Yep.
And this explains why people we look up to in culture feel so magnetic.
Exactly. That's another thing I say. Like, when people start talking about being fans of people, or like, let's say I'm a fan of somebody, you don't know their true self. Or if I hate some sort of celebrity, I don't know their true self either. These people are bought and sold. They're not people. They all think the same thing for the most part as well.
They are the rare few who have learned how to define, protect, and amplify their personality in a world that is constantly pressuring them to blend in. And by the way, this is the exact thing that I help creators and public figures do: find their magnetic edge in a flooded market and build an audience that actually cares. I'm going to leave a link in my bio if you want to go deeper.
We're going to skip that, unfortunately.
It's actually, from an evolutionary perspective, smart. So back in the old cave days, we depended on our community for survival. If we did something that risked us being othered, We could be ejected from the pack and literally die. And so
Yeah, but a lot of times back then, it would be understandable for somebody to get thrown out. It wasn't for, he said something I don't like. He said something that the screen people didn't tell me to believe.
But you will find warnings against standing out scattered across cultures. In Scandinavia, this is called the law of Jante.
No one is allowed to stand out, to be or consider themselves special, to be different.
In Japan, there is a proverb, deru kui wa utareru, which translates directly to the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. In Australia,
Yeah.
it's called tall poppy syndrome, where if you start to think you're too good, a bloke named Damien sends you a DM telling you to shut the fuck up.
But here's the thing. It depends what you're doing. It depends what you're saying. I'm thinking back to like ancient times. I would imagine that they would just take care of the unproblematic one of the group, not just the person like gets like ostracized from society today, you know?
We as humans revisit this concept again and again because it is wired into our biology. But our brain is running on outdated information. In today's society, standing out is no longer life or death. It explains why it feels so hard and scary. But there are ways that you can override this programming. Tactic number 1 is to speedrun the haters. So the best and worst thing that ever happened to me is that I used to work in national radio as a radio host. Every morning from 6 to 9 a.m, hundreds of thousands of people would tune in and listen to me talk and play music. I'd often get texts while I was on air, calling me cringe, saying how terrible I was, telling me I was ruining their morning.
Hey, if you're doing something online and you're receiving hate, you're doing something correctly. That's not my opinion. That is a well-known thing behind people in this sort of space, and it's correct.
It's off, Damien. Obviously at the time it really hurt, but now I look back and it's something that I'm really grateful for, because being exposed to such a large volume of people's opinions about me over such a short amount of time gave me a superpower. I learned how to continue and to try and explore in the face of being watched and judged at scale. And if you want to put yourself out there, if you want to be a content creator, founder, public figure, celebrity, you're gonna get haters.
Yeah, I've always like been very hate has been a little bit of an interesting one for me, depending on what your channel you're coming from. By the way, I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. Check out the description down below, Linktree, as well as other links. I have many channels that we talk on. It's funny because I've experienced a lot of haters at this point as I've grown my MMA community and the Fortnite channel as well. The Fortnite channel people, the haters are like actual true haters where it's hate for the sake of hating and that type of stuff. So I've experienced that, but I've also experienced like kind of fun hate over on the MMA world, like those sports fans where they just start yelling at people once their favorite fighter loses or something like that. Or if someone makes fun of my appearance a little bit, I'm somebody who can laugh at myself. You know, it's those people are a little bit more funny as haters, and so I feel like I've been getting a little bit more of each side of the hatred spectrum, which has been interesting.
That's why you should speedrun the process by creating content. It's one of the quickest ways to be exposed to mass perception. And that mass perception is the quickest way to learn how to not give a fuck. It's one of the most underrated self-development tools out there.
I don't know. It takes a special kind of person to truly not care. Now, after saying that, I'm going to sound ridiculous by saying, well, I don't care what stupid people think about me. I care what like important people to me think about me. I don't care what like some random person on the internet is probably like, you know, just stuffing his face, watching Netflix, scrolling on TikTok all day. Why would I care what somebody like that thinks of me? And I know how cringe that says after I just said, after what she just said.
Second controversial tactic is to lean into your personal contradiction. So here's the thing about the world's most magnetic personalities. They have turned a thing that they could have thought they were weird and wrong for into their magnetic edge. This is actually one of the most essential ingredients that celebrities use to build cult-like audiences. For example, The Rock is a big tough guy, but he's also a sook. Gordon Ramsay is an
but you don't know that. You don't know that. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to these celebrities. You don't know any of their opinions. These people are as fake as it gets.
Angry dude.
You fucking donut.
But he's also really kind and gentle when it matters.
Don't you worry, my darling. Let's start again.
Post Malone looks hardcore, but he acts silly and goofy.
I believe him. I could very well see Post Malone actually being like a wholesome guy.
They all made the thing about them that they might have tried to hide into the thing that they were known for, their iconic contradiction. So if you're a football player but you like knitting, lean into it. If you're a spirituality coach but you swear like crazy, lean into it. These things that society wants to flatten out of you are the things you should be owning to be unique.
Yeah, actually, that kind of reminds me because she was talking about football players liking knitting. There's a UFC fighter that is honestly, I don't mean to be disrespectful, and I'm a huge MMA fan, have a whole channel dedicated to it. There's a UFC fighter that not a lot of people like to watch because he's boring, he wrestles, and his name is Grant Dawson. And the reason that I started paying attention to Grant Dawson is because I was listening to the press conference with all the fighters, and this guy was talking about how much he likes a Yu-Gi-Oh! And as somebody who grew up playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I was like, dude, that's crazy. You want to be a UFC champion, and you're over here on the side collecting Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. Like, he stands out from all the other fighters, which is interesting. He's not ashamed to say anything like that. I just hit the space bar, the video wasn't playing.
Now, the last tactic is only controversial because people rarely do it, and that's to intentionally define your perspective on the world. Otherwise, the world is going to form it for you. With this, you can literally sit down and ask yourself, what are your values and what do you believe about those values?
Yeah, people are cooked. They're not going to do that anymore. They think that they have original thoughts, they think they have original values, but it's just been programmed into their brain at this point. It's going to take some special kind of person in order to break free.
These need to be your core beliefs, the beliefs that move you through the world. And to help getting to that core belief, you can use a why chain. This is when you say, I believe X. Then you ask yourself why. Well, because I believe Y. Then you ask yourself why. Well, because I believe Z. Why?
Hang on. Do you think the average person is going to do such a thing? Do you think the average person is going to question their own morals? Do you think they're going to question their own values? They're not going to do such a thing.
So on and so forth. If you ask why enough times, you will get to your actual core belief. Defining your beliefs isn't just a nice to do, it is essential. I have worked with creators from 1,000 followers to 10 million plus followers, and the power of defining your beliefs to refine your edge in the market is insane at any stage. And if you want help with this, because it is hard to do alone, I'm going to leave some links in the bio.
I thought that was a very, very well said video, man. I've never been familiar with this channel before, but I'm definitely going to be watching a little bit more. But if you guys want to talk a little bit more about society today, why don't you check out this video on screen right now? I'd love to have you over there. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Take care, everybody.